I must be dreaming. Either that, or I've wandered into the twilight zone. Because if this were really happening, if that strange machine actually worked, I wouldn't have any thumbs. And look, I still have my thumbs. Music fades. There was a time when television comedy meant something simple and perfect. A tall, loose-limbed guy in a skinny tie stumbling over an ottoman. A housewife in capri pants who felt modern without being flashy. And a writer's room that somehow felt funnier than the show they were writing. That sweet spot was the Dick Van Dyke Show. Dick Van Dyke played Rob Petrie. Mary Tyler Moore was Laura. Carl Reiner ran the entire operation, both behind the scenes and on camera as the hilariously self-absorbed Alan Brady. Buddy and Sally filled the writer's room with jokes that landed like rapid-fire punches. The show premiered on CBS in 1961, ran for 5 seasons, and produced just under 160 episodes. All of it in sharp black and white. And all of it smarter than anyone expected a sitcom to be. If you grew up watching reruns, you already know this series wasn't just entertainment. It was a lesson in how television comedy should work. Today, we are counting down 15 strange and fascinating facts you may not know about the Dick Van Dyke Show. Before we begin, hit like, subscribe to remember when, and share this video with someone who still flinches whenever they see an ottoman in a living room. Let's start the countdown. Number 15. The time Carl Reiner fired himself. Before the Dick Van Dyke Show became legendary, it failed, badly. In 1960, Carl Reiner created a pilot called Head of the Family. Same basic premise. Same writer's room. Same home life comedy. One major difference: Reiner starred as the lead. CBS watched the pilot and passed. Not because the writing was bad, they liked the scripts. The problem, they said, was Carl Reiner himself. Executives felt he was too intellectual, too aggressive, and, worst crime of all in early television, too New York. Middle America, they believed, wasn't ready for a sitcom dad who looked like he knew what a bagel was. Producer Sheldon Leonard loved Reiner's writing but delivered one of the most brutally honest notes in TV history. "We'll get a better actor to play you." Painful, but correct. Reiner stepped aside as the star and focused on writing and producing. Leonard began searching for someone warmer, looser, and more approachable. Someone who could fall over furniture and still be lovable. That's when he saw Dick Van Dyke on Broadway in Bye Bye Birdie. The rest is television history. Number 14. Johnny Carson almost played Rob Petrie. Before he became the undisputed king of late night, Johnny Carson was nearly Rob Petrie. When casting began, Carson wasn't a long shot. He was one of the final 2 choices. By the early 1960s, he was already a familiar face, hosting Who Do You Trust? And working steadily in comedy. Producers liked him. He was relaxed, charming, and intelligent. He understood the pressure of deadlines and writing rooms. But that same polish worked against him. Executives worried he already felt like a star. Too confident. Too smooth. They weren't sure audiences would believe him as a nervous suburban husband tripping over ottomans. So the role went to Van Dyke. In 1962, Carson accepted The Tonight Show. If he had taken Rob Petrie, that never would have happened. One casting decision changed 2 television legacies forever. Number 13. Mary Tyler Moore shaved 3 years off her age. When Mary Tyler Moore auditioned for Laura Petrie, she was perfect, except for one detail. She was 23. Dick Van Dyke was 36, and the producers worried viewers wouldn't buy them as a married couple. Mary knew this could end her chances instantly. So she adjusted the truth. She told them she was 26. By the time anyone realized the difference, the chemistry was undeniable and the show was already moving forward. Carl Reiner shrugged it off. History agrees. Their on-screen marriage remains one of the most believable partnerships in television history. Number 12. The capri pants that terrified television. In 1961, TV wives wore dresses, pearls, and heels, even while cleaning the house. Mary Tyler Moore pushed back. She insisted Laura Petrie wear capri pants, arguing that real women didn't vacuum in cocktail dresses. CBS executives panicked. Sponsors, especially Procter & Gamble, worried the pants were too form-fitting. Network censors even wrote memos about something called cupping under. Eventually, Laura was allowed to wear pants, but only in 1 scene per episode. That rule quietly disappeared. Viewers loved the look, and capri pants became one of the most iconic wardrobe choices in sitcom history. Number 11. The theme song had lyrics. Everyone knows the theme music. Almost no one knew it had words. Composer Earl Hagen created the instrumental theme, but Maury Amsterdam, who played Buddy Sorrell, later wrote full lyrics titled Keep Your Fingers Crossed. They sat unused for decades. Then, 37 years later, Dick Van Dyke sang them publicly, finally revealing that one of TV's most famous themes had been a full song all along. Number 10. The show was cancelled, until the sponsor stepped in. After Season 1, CBS cancelled the show. It ranked 80th out of 117 programs and aired opposite The Perry Como Show. Bad scheduling didn't help. But sponsors mattered more than networks in the early 1960s. Procter & Gamble, which funded massive daytime hits like As the World Turns, made its position clear: renew the show or lose their money. CBS reconsidered. A second season was ordered. The show moved to follow the Beverly Hillbillies, and by Season 2 it cracked the top 10. Number 9. The show was Carl Rayner's life. Rob Petrie was Carl Rayner. The writer's room mirrored your show of shows. Buddy Sorrell was inspired by Mel Brooks. Sally Rogers drew from Lucille Corlin and Selma Diamond. Alan Brady was based on difficult stars like Milton Berle and Jackie Gleason, not Sid Caesar. Real experiences gave the show authenticity. Number 8. Dick Van Dyke was completely untrained. No acting lessons.
No singing lessons.
No dance lessons. Dick Van Dyke learned everything by instinct. His physical style came from radio, mime acts, and studying Buster Keaton and Stan Laurel. Choreographer Gower Champion built routines around his natural movement. Van Dyke later credited daily movement for his longevity. He recently celebrated his 100th birthday. Number 7. Alan Brady joined Must See TV. In 1995, Carl Rayner revived Alan Brady on Mad About You. The episode aired February 16, 1995, won Rayner an Emmy, and accidentally linked the Dick Van Dyke Show to Seinfeld and Friends through crossover logic. One character connected 3 sitcom eras. Number 6. One of the last black and white sitcoms. The show ended in 1966, just as color television took over. Carl Rayner chose consistency over cost, avoiding a mid-series switch that would add $7,000 per episode. In 2016, select episodes were colorized, under Rayner's supervision. Number 5. Dick Van Dyke danced with himself. In 2004, CBS aired The Dick Van Dyke Show Revisited. Van Dyke performed alongside a CGI version of himself, animation he helped create using skills he taught himself after buying a Commodore Amiga in 1991. Number 4. Real tension between the female stars. Rose Marie believed she would be the show's primary female lead. As the focus shifted toward the Petrie marriage, tension grew between her and Mary Tyler Moore. Both women later admitted it, and both said it eventually faded into friendship. Number 3. His name was misspelled on the Walk of Fame. Dick Van Dyke's star was engraved as Van Dyke. He laughed, grabbed a marker, and drew the slash himself. The star was later corrected, but the moment became legendary. Number 2. The smile hid a serious struggle. Behind the joy was alcoholism. In 1972, Van Dyke entered treatment for 3 weeks. In 1974, he spoke openly about it on The Dick Cavett Show, long before celebrities did that. Number 1. 15 Emmys and a timeless legacy. From 1961 to 1966, the show won 15 Primetime Emmy Awards. Outstanding Comedy Series 4 years in a row. 1963, 1964, 1965, 1966. It remains ranked among the greatest TV shows ever written.